Hi, everyone. We're just going to get started soon. Erin, I don't know if you've started to let people in.
I have indeed.
Did you want us to just launch right into it? Did you have any opening remarks, Erin?
No, I'm very happy for you. I mean, we're going to announce the winner at the end, so maybe we'll just say our piece then.
Okay, I'll mention it at the front for sure. But welcome everybody. Just before we get started, as usual, if you wanted to use the chat box, we'd just love to hear from you throughout. We'd love to know where you're joining from and if this is your first event with us. And we'll just get started in just a few seconds. Okay. Oh, nice. Well, what I'll do is I'll get started with the opening remarks, and then people will join us as they can. I know this is an interesting hour after work. I think it's a busy time of year for people. But I wanted to say my name is Randy Chan. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager for HTP Books, and HTP stands for Harlequin Trade Publishing. I've met so many of you at various events we've done with the Girly Book Club. In fact, the two authors here tonight were part of recent Girly Book Club events that were big hits. But really tonight is a first for all of us. For the first time ever, we're presenting a holiday book extravaganza. So you're gonna hear about the perfect books for everyone on your holiday gift list. And all of us presenting tonight have carefully chosen books that represent a broad range of readers, literally something for everyone on your list. So as we present, there'll be a PowerPoint presentation to show you clearly the books we're talking about. In the chat box, we'll add the actual book page link so that if you want to buy the book right here and now, feel free to do so. That's what this event is all about. And then right after the event finishes, Erin and Valerie will email you all a shopping guide that lists all of the books that are being recommended today. So you could take that list to your favorite bookstore and again, order right up. Finally, you have to stay to the end of the event because at the end, Erin and Valerie are going to do a random draw where one lucky winner will win all 10 books that we're recommending today. But you have to be in attendance to claim your prize, so stay to the end, okay? Well, let's get started. And just to say that when we planned this event, we thought who better to recommend books than New York Times bestselling authors. So our first presenter tonight is Alka Joshi. I know many of you know her already. Alka wrote The Henna Artist, a novel that immediately became a New York Times bestseller, a Reese Witherspoon book club pick. It was longlisted for the Center for Fiction First Novel Prize. And the book, The Henna Artist, is currently in development as a Netflix series with Frida Pinto, who we know as the actress from Slumdog Millionaire, who is producing and starring. And Alka's second novel, The Secret Keeper of Jaipur, was released in June, and it was one of Good Morning America's best books for June and Pop Sugar's best summer reads. Alka, welcome. Please tell the Girly Book Club universe about the books that you're recommending to the readers on your list.
Thanks so much, Randy, and thank you so much to everyone who is joining today from the Girly Book Club. You readers are the reason that we write, so it's an amazing thing to have you with us and to have you listening in on this book extravaganza for the holidays. Okay, my first recommendation is called Songbirds, and it's by Christy Lefteri. You may remember her as the author of The Beekeeper of Aleppo. And this is for readers who can identify with that incredible bond between a mother and a daughter. And also, many of you are working women who have hired others from another country to help with taking care of your children. So the Songbirds is a moving story about the women who must care for families in foreign countries because they need to send money back home to their own families and their own children. This story takes place in Cyprus, and it's told by a widow, Petra. She's a working professional, and she needs to hire somebody to take care of her daughter. That someone turns out to be Nisha, a Sri Lankan woman who has come all the way from Sri Lanka to Cyprus to take care of this woman's daughter. One night, Nisha tucks Petra's daughter in bed, then goes out into the night and she disappears. Petra spends the rest of the novel desperately searching for her. First, because she needs help with the daughter she can't quite bond with. And finally, because she comes to realize how hard it must have been for Nisha to be separated from her own daughter, with whom she has such a close relationship. I wanted to know what happened to Nisha as much as Petra did, and I could not put the book down until I got to the last page. So that's Songbirds by Christy Leftieri. The next one is The Far Field by Madhuri Vijay. And this book has haunted me since I first read it. This is for readers who love to be immersed in exotic cultures and learn about how people live, love, and think halfway around the world. I write in my books about the beauty of the Himalayan mountains. So I found this story of a young urban woman finding her way through the harsh political and emotional terrain of those mountains so compelling. Shalini is the main character. Her mother was aloof, complicated, eccentric. She never quite knew where she was with her mother. After her mother dies, Shalini is haunted by a childhood memory of a Kashmiri salesman who used to visit their home. You'll recall that Kashmir is up in the Himalaya mountains. Shalini's mother would spend hours talking and laughing with this man when she wouldn't give the time of day to anyone else. She was so antisocial. So Shalini travels 1,000 miles to Kashmir in search of this salesman to better understand her mother. When she gets there, she becomes embroiled in the Kashmiri way of life, the area's politics, and even a love affair. It is a dangerous place for a woman to be by herself, and that is what happens to Shalini. She does get into danger. So the author, Madhuri Vijay, is a woman who's 30 years younger than I am, but she writes with the maturity of someone far older, and I loved this book. The last book that I want to recommend to you is called How I Met You, a collection of short stories by Bradley J. Owens. If you love movies like Boyhood, The Last Picture Show, and Lady Bird, you'll love this collection of short stories, especially the lead story, A Circle of Stones. And full disclosure, the author is my husband, but that's not why I'm recommending this. I fell in love with Brad's writing before I fell in love with him, which tells you something. And when my friend Diana said to me, there's a guy I think you're going to want to meet, and his name is Brad Owens, and he writes stories for a living, I was mesmerized. And of course, when I met him, I fell completely for him. Brad writes simply. His sentences have the rhythm and cadence of poetry, something that I haven't quite mastered yet, but I keep trying. And he is the reason I write today. He's the one who said to me, I know you can write long form fiction. And so I became a writer. The story, A Circle of Stones, is about an unnamed narrator, a little boy, probably about 6 or 7 years old, living in the Texas Panhandle. His mother and father are divorced. His mother is a little volatile. She's remarried a rancher named Harlan, who isn't easy around children. The father is a little distant and not really very much in the picture. The boy is quiet. He doesn't want to make waves or problems for either set of parents. He longs for his father's attention, waits for his father to see him, only to discover that the love he craved was waiting for him elsewhere all along. This story made me cry. It's a story I always wish I'd written, and one I can so easily picture.
I'm just doing a
on the
book
big
club,
screen.
okay? I am. It's just like an online one.
I can watch the show.
No, I'll be a minute.
Okay, I don't know who that was, but hello. So I think that those are the three books that I would recommend: Songbirds, The Far Field, and How I Met You. I tried to choose a diversity of things, some that will take you quite a while to, I think, digest, and others that will be short little bursts of joy that you will, I think, get a lot out of. So thank you so much. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you, Alka. You know, I remember you recommended The Far Field. I believe it was maybe it was a Girly Book Club retreat event. I'm not sure, but I ordered it right away. I loved every page of it. It's a journey. It's magical.
It is. It's really fun. And I think that she also captures a lot of the sort of the conflicts that exist in India, because as you know, Kashmir is in India. And, you know, the conflicts about families and responsibility and, you know, the what is expected of you versus what you want to do in your life. And there is so much that happens in different parts of India, especially in the Kashmir region, by the way, which is where the word Kashmir comes from. I just wanted you to know. But in the Kashmir region, you know, there has been a lot of infighting going on just amidst the people who are there, the people who want to be in power, people who don't want to be in power. And it's a very volatile place, and women definitely have to be very careful when they go up there and travel there. There is a lot of army action, mercenary action, you know, just a lot of guns and people walking around, you know, being angry. So, yeah.
I still think about it, Alka. It's a great novel. Thank you. And our next presenter is the author Sarah Penner, who is no stranger to the Girly Book Club because her novel, The Lost Apothecary, was the Girly Book Club pick for May. And the book debuted on the New York Times hardcover bestseller list. It remained there for, I think, 7 weeks. Have I got that right? I think so.
Yep.
And it was a #1 library reads pick. It was an Indie Next pick. It is now, as we get to the end of the year, an Amazon Best Book of 2021, and also a Barnes & Noble Best Book of 2021. This summer, Deadline announced that Fox Entertainment is creating the TV series for The Lost Apothecary, which we can't wait for. And so, Sarah, we'd love to know what books the New York Times bestselling author gifts to the people on your list.
Yes, thanks, Randy. And hello, everybody. Thanks to the Girly Book Club for putting this on. Hopefully there are some, I can't see everyone's faces, but hopefully there are some familiar faces and readers out there who I've had a chance to interact with, whether on social media or that Girly Book Club event that we did in May. So I'm really excited to be here. I also, kind of like Alka, I wanted to try and find 3 books that were pretty diverse in nature and would appeal to different types of readership. And I also have to say, it's very difficult when your team wants you to choose just 3 books, because as authors, we're also very avid readers. And so to look at my bookshelves and choose 3 books was very difficult. So you know that these 3 must be really good, because this is what I landed on. So The Paper Palace, which of these 3 is probably the most well-known. So I'm sure there's some cover familiarity there for you. This was a Reese's Book Club pick. And it is about a married woman named Elle, who is spending a weekend at her family's cabins in Cape Cod. And I said she's married, and one evening she sneaks out with her childhood friend named Jonas, who is also married. And Elle and Jonas have a very passionate encounter. So begins the dual narrative story. One narrative takes place over the course of 24 hours at this cabin, as we learn about the fallout and processing of this encounter. And then the second narrative takes place over the course of Elle's life, which is roughly 50 years. And she shares the family legacies and secrets that brought her to this very weekend and led her to this irreparable decision that she has made. And of course, we learn what happens at the end. The story is emotional and tragic, uncomfortable at times, and voyeuristic at others. It's perfect for readers who enjoy escaping to the lake or the beach for their summer vacations and can appreciate the long, slow bliss of a day at the cabin. Ideal for readers who enjoyed Where the Crawdads Sing or anything written by Paula McLean, who happens to be one of my most favorite authors. And I think this book would make a great gift paired with a s'mores kit and a pine scented candle. So that's my first recommendation. And all of these books, I kind of paired them with what I think a good gift idea would be. Meeting in Positano. This is the second book that I'm recommending by the late Goliarda Sapienza. I might have mispronounced that, but she was an actress and a writer who died in 1996. And I actually provided an endorsement for this book. This was published earlier this year, so I thought I would just read that brief blurb since it so perfectly describes how I feel about the story. Set amid the landscape of the enchanting, evolving Amalfi Coast, Meeting in Positano pays homage to the mystifying and impenetrable affection between two women. It is like reading a love letter from the past, one rife with the truths about friendship that most of us would not dare utter aloud. Desire, envy, nostalgia, adoration. Complex and evocative, this story is not to be missed. So the book as a whole, it's a bit of a more obscure title. Probably a lot of you haven't seen this book before, but it's dreamy. The prose is beautiful. It's very sensual, lush, glamorous. It almost feels like art with words. I've also never been to Positano, which again is along the Amalfi Coast in Italy. And so this book opened my eyes to the sun-drenched village and its slow pace, the sandy beaches, which really is the most perfect backdrop to form a special friendship, which is the focal point of the story. Next year, my husband and I are actually planning to go to Italy for 2 weeks. And this book is the reason that we decided we're going to visit the Amalfi Coast as part of that trip. So it was very impactful on me. It's perfect for readers who enjoy stories about complex friendships or enjoy immersing themselves in luxuriant travel stories. And I think this would be a great gift paired with a bottle of bubbly Italian Prosecco. So I'm going to save the best for last. This actually worked out well that you lined the books up this way. I have kind of a confession, which is that my weakness is nonfiction, but even more specifically, I very strangely love maritime nonfiction. So stories about ships and the ocean. I don't know why this is. This is just kind of a personal obsession. We all have our things. But if there's a book that comes out that is about some sort of seafaring adventure, I'm probably going to read it. So I jumped on this book the second that I saw it, Madhouse at the End of the Earth by Julian Sancton. It's nonfiction. It is the harrowing true story set in 1897 about a group of men who go on an expedition to the South Pole. But the ship becomes trapped in ice for months, and the men descend into literal terror, including mysterious illnesses, a months-long darkness followed by months-long sunlight, and subsequent mental breakdowns among the men. The reason this book is so awesome is because the author pulled the story together via the journals and diaries of the men who were on the ship. And those journals and diaries have actually been used by NASA to better understand the effects of isolation and darkness on human psychology. It takes place in the Arctic, so I think it's a perfect time of year to read this book curled up next to a fireplace. The author's descriptions of Antarctica are fascinating, impeccably descriptive, and it often felt like I was reading the story of someone who had visited another planet. Ideal for fans of Erik Larson, who's my favorite nonfiction author, as well as Nathaniel Philbrick. And I think it would make a great gift for nonfiction lovers paired with a pair of thick woolen socks. So that's my 3. I hope that you guys enjoy them if you decide to check any of them out.
I love them, Sarah. I think I was telling you how eclectic, what a wide range of books you like. So while you were talking, I was guessing, the next event we do, we should just do a tour of our bookshelves and just show, I want to see what's on your bookshelf and what's on your nightstand. It would be great.
Yep.
Next event, January, we'll talk. Thank you to both of you. Listen, I know you're both busy people. We'd love for you to stay to hear the rest of the recommendations, but feel free to drop off if you have to get going. But The rest of our recommendations will come from my colleagues and myself, and it's the very people who work on these books day in and day out. So I'm starting with Girly Drinks, A World History of Women and Alcohol by Mallory O'Meara. And as the subtitle suggests, the book covers women drinking through the ages, because when you look at classic cocktail history, it's told from the perspective of men. So the author looks at the untold story of female distillers and brewers. She argues that you can learn a lot about a civilization from how they restrict women from drinking or don't restrict them. And it's part history for sure, but it's also really fun, super quirky. There are cocktail recipes in here. There's tips on how to brew your own beer. It is that perfect gift book for the person in your life who enjoys a good beverage and some interesting history to go with that. You can pair a nice bottle of wine or a scotch with this book and gift them together. The author, Mallory O'Meara, is someone dedicated to bringing to light feminist history. By day, she is a screenwriter and producer. She's so fascinating. I'll just tell you a little bit about actually the author's very first book, which is not on the screen here, but you can look it up for sure. It's called The Lady from the Black Lagoon, and it won many awards. And in her book, The Lady from the Black Lagoon, she brought to light the life of Millicent Patrick, who was one of Disney's very first female animators. In fact, she broke ground. She created literally the lady from the creature from the Black Lagoon. But her work was claimed by her male peers, and she was barely a footnote until Mallory unearthed her history and brought it to light. It's a fantastic book. She's a great writer for us. The next book is very different. This is for the teenage readers on your shopping list, and it's called The Keeper of the Night by Kylie Lee Baker. It is a dark fantasy novel. It's set in 1890, and it features a heroine named Ren Scarborough who seeks acceptance in the underworlds of London and Japan. In fact, she flees London in hopes to find her place with the Japanese Shinigami. But before she enters the Japanese underworld, she must first fight 3 yokai demons. It is a fantasy debut perfect for those on your list who love villain origin stories, maybe anyone who loves all those Marvel films. Perhaps there's someone in your life who loved the recent film Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This book is filled with action and fantasy and a kick-ass heroine, and it is for teens aged 14 and up. And onto, again, a very different book. It's called The Great Glorious Goddamn of It All by Josh Ritter. This is for the person on your list who loves classic novels, really old-fashioned storytelling, for fans of like Mark Twain or John Irving. And the novel is set in the world of lumberjacks and the rise of prohibition, but it's so much more than that. It is about a young boy coming of age in a very hardscrabble environment. It's about how someone growing up in a toxic world of violence can still remain good and pure at heart. And the big piece to this is the author himself, who is a famous singer-songwriter. Josh Ritter was named one of the 10 most exciting artists right now by Entertainment Weekly. His music has been compared with Bruce Springsteen, Woody Guthrie, Leonard Cohen, and Bob Dylan. If you don't own Josh Ritter in your iTunes, go check him out right now. And if you buy this book, The Great Glorious Goddamn of It All, you'll see that Josh Ritter recorded an exclusive song inspired by the book, so the reader can listen on Spotify after reading the book. So I'm gifting this to my uncle who loved the novel Sisters Brothers, or he likes books like Cold Mountain by Charles Fraser. This will be right up his alley. And the last book here that I'm presenting is Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. It is a sexy novel about a young Black woman who is very straight-laced. She doesn't break the rules. She's not spontaneous. But after a trip to Vegas, she wakes up married to a woman she doesn't even know. And the rest of the novel is about this woman, Grace, growing up really quickly. It's fun. It's a fun read, but it's also about being young and making mistakes. And it has deeper layers of racism, class, and privilege embedded in the story. Anyone who loved Red, White, and Royal Blue which was a queer rom-com, will love Honey Girl. This book is definitely more geared towards urban millennials, Gen Y readers. Oprah.com had called Honey Girl one of the LGBTQ books that will change the literary landscape. And Target in the US has named Honey Girl one of the best books of 2021. So this is a group of 4 books chosen by the Target head office, and there are only 4 other books named a best book. And that includes Kristen Hanna's most recent book, Elin Hildebrand, and Colson Whitehead. So Honey Girl is in great company. And as a result, Target purchased 30,000 additional copies of Honey Girl to stock for the next few months, and will promote this a lot. Honey Girl is our little book that could. I've yet to hear one negative thing about the read. It is universally beloved. And that's Honey Girl. And that's it from me for now. I'm going to turn things over to my colleague, Rachel Haller.
Hi, so my name's Rachel and I'm the marketing manager at Park Row Books, and I'm going to talk about Local Women Missing by Mary Kubica. I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to give anything away, but it's the opening chapter is probably one of the most tense you will ever read. Local Woman Missing dares to ask, what would you do to keep the truth buried? So just weeks after Shelby Tebow goes missing, Meredith Dickey and her 6-year-old daughter, Delilah, also vanish. But are these incidents connected? The investigation leads nowhere and the case eventually goes cold. But then, miraculously, 11 years later, Delilah shockingly returns. This is not a spoiler. And everyone wants to know what happened to her and the 2 other missing women. And are they, again, connected? So this is told as a dual narrative, one timeline in the past when the women go missing, and the second in the present when Delilah returns. And these perfectly woven stories create the ultimate page turner. So this New York Times bestseller is perfect for fans of My Favorite Murder, You, if you've read the book or watched the show, or really any true crime enthusiast. And it's currently a nominee in the Goodreads Choice Awards. So you can go read the book and then vote for it as a best mystery and thriller of the year. And that's Local Woman Missing. And that's the Matzo Ball. So I'm gonna just put that in the chat. All right, so the Matzo Ball by Jean Meltzer. So Rachel Rubenstein Goldblatt is a nice Jewish girl. She's extremely devoted to her faith, but she has a secret. She loves Christmas. And not only that, for a decade, she's hidden her very successful career as a Christmas romance novelist from her family. Rachel suffers from chronic pain due to an illness, and her writing gig allows her to stay in the comfort of her home, and the Christmas romances contain all the magic and kind of love she believes she won't ever get to experience for herself. But her agent and publisher want her to write a Hanukkah romance, but Rachel's just not inspired. She doesn't believe Hanukkah is anywhere near as magical as Christmas, but she can't afford to not write. So she decides to find some inspiration at a celebrity-filled high-end matzo ball, a celebration on the last night of Hanukkah. And there's a big catch. The celebration, the matzo ball, is put on by her childhood summer camp arch enemy, Jacob Greenberg. But as Rachel and Jacob spend more time together, she finds herself drawn to Hanukkah and to Jacob in a way she never expected. For Rachel, this holiday may just be the spark she needs. And as she finds that there is a deep magic to her own faith and that this season is about to uncover in more ways than one. With Hanukkah just a few weeks away, the matzo ball is perfect for fans of really any holiday romance. And also wanted to tell you that Jean Meltzer, the author, will be on the Today Show on November 30th, giving her best holiday romance recommendations. And that's the matzo ball.
Thanks, Rachel. And I see in the chat box, someone did see Jean Meltzer, the author of the Matzo Ball, speak recently. She was at our event last month. She really is wonderful. I'm just gonna sneak in with 2 more book presentations, and then we're gonna hand it over to Anna Sullivan to close this out. But I wanted to talk to you about The Warsaw Orphan by Kelly Rimmer. If you know someone who reads World War II fiction, best-selling books like The Rose Code by Kate Quinn, or The Lost Girls of Paris by Pam Jenoff, they will love, love, love Kelly Rimmer. Actually, the Girly Book Club made Kelly Rimmer's previous novel, The Things We Cannot Say, their global pick last year, and that book went on to sell 500,000 copies. This novel, The Warsaw Orphan, is a follow-up, and it debuted on bestseller lists in the US and Canada earlier this year. The Warsaw Orphan is an epic saga about two teenagers, Roman and Elżbieta, whose families live on opposite sides of the Warsaw Ghetto Wall in Nazi-occupied Poland. Elżbieta becomes involved in smuggling Jewish children out from danger and offers to do the same for Roman's new baby sister. What follows is a gripping and harrowing story. It is inspired by a real-life Polish nurse named Irina Sendler, who smuggled over 2,000 Jewish children out of the Warsaw Ghetto. This novel is emotional, it's heart-wrenching, it's perfect for that reader who belongs to a book club. You just want to read it and talk about it immediately with all your friends. This one won't disappoint. On to The Secret of Snow by Viola Shipman. Some of you met Viola last month at a Girly Book Club event. His real name is Wade Rouse. We love Wade. Wade writes under the pen name Viola as a tribute to his grandmother who raised him. And he's one of our biggest up-and-coming authors. His books are for anyone in your life who loves heartwarming stories with a little romance, or who counts the days to Hallmark's holiday movie season. The Secret of Snow is about a meteorologist who has a public meltdown on air one day and must move back to her Michigan hometown to start fresh. But while she's back at home, she's forced to confront her past, her mortal frenemy, but also her mother who caused her to leave in the first place. Relationships are built up again, and there may even be a touch of romance now that she's back home. The Secret of Snow is that cozy read for sitting by the fire with a cup of hot chocolate or a glass of wine. This is for fans of Nancy Thayer or Jenny Colgan or Debbie May Comber, all authors who write books that will just make you laugh and cry at the same time. So thanks everyone. We have one more presenter, my colleague, Anna Sullivan.
Hi everyone, I'm so happy to be here. My name is Anna Sullivan. I am the marketing coordinator with HTP Books, and I'm just so happy to be here to talk to you all today about some of our most bingeable, giftable books for the holidays this year. You know, now is the perfect time to curl up, read a good book. Maybe the weather's getting colder, maybe you're looking for ways to slow down, relax, get ready for the winter season. Whatever it is you're craving this year, we have some tried and true best-selling books for all of the people in your life. Okay, so let's get started. So our first destination tonight is cozy small town Virgin River, where the people are friendly, the drinks are flowing at Jack's Bar, and excitement is always around the corner. The Virgin River series is the perfect gift for those people in your life who love romance and a picturesque, charming location that you can absolutely get lost in. Now, you might recognize the name of this book series from your Netflix homepage, and you're right. These are the books that started it all, and they have now been turned into a smash hit Netflix TV series. But let's be honest, I mean, we all know someone who swears the books are better. This is for them. These books are amazing. They're immersive, they're funny, they're emotional, and Robin Carr's writing always brings the welcoming hometown setting to life in these beautiful mountain ranges of Virgin River. The characters in this series are fully realized, they're flawed, but they're lovable, and you definitely cheer for them when they find happiness and they find their happy ever after. Plus, there are 21 books in this series, which, depending on who you're buying for, could be a good thing or maybe a bit of a scary, daunting thing to have so many books in a series. But the good news is all of the Virgin River books can be read individually as standalone books, so definitely don't let that number scare you. But if you know someone who loves to binge a series and like they've run out of Disney Plus and Netflix and Amazon Prime shows to watch, you can definitely gift these books to them. Robin Carr just creates a beautiful world that you can dive into again and again. And speaking of books that you might recognize from your Netflix homepage, our next bingeable series has also been turned into a wildly successful Netflix show called Sweet Magnolias. Now, this series is perfect for the friends in your life. It follows 4 lifelong friends living in a lovely southern town who call themselves the Sweet Magnolias. These women have been through everything together. They've laughed, they've cried, and everything in between, and they still take on life with compassion, a sense of humor, and good food, including their famous margarita nights, which I like to replicate on my own while I'm reading these. Now, this series is for your oldest friend group who have been there for each other through thick and thin, or maybe your book club who feels more like a sisterhood, or maybe just your sisters who make you feel like home. I'm sorry, I'm getting choked up just thinking about this. I'm thinking about, you know, my close girlfriends who have really gotten me through this last year, and books like this are for them. Yeah, okay, so enough of my fears. All of these books in the Sweet Magnolias series are available now. But if anyone that you know is looking to use up those gift cards that they got for the holidays and the new year, there's going to be some brand new editions coming out in early 2022 featuring cover art from the show, like this one that you see on the screen right now. It's perfect for any fans of the TV series. And there's going to be a newly reissued official Sweet Magnolias cookbook in early 2022 with over 150 Southern home cooked recipes that I have made a crab cheesecake that is like delicious from that cookbook. It'll make anybody the star of the party or like the Southern belle of your book club. It's wonderful. But as I mentioned, these books are also available now if you want to buy them for your friend group for Christmas. Okay, I've been talking a lot about warm and fuzzy feelings in our book so far, which is great around the holidays, don't get me wrong. But if you're gift hunting for someone who likes something a little more chilling and thrilling, like, which is me, by the way, I'm totally that person. So I've got to recommend TheOne by John Mars. This book is a shocking, provocative sci-fi thriller. It asks the question, how far would you go to find the one? So imagine a world in where a simple DNA test is all that it takes to get matched with your perfect partner, the one who is like genetically made for you. Sounds too good to be true? Maybe. Or maybe not. This unique book is an edge of your seat thrill ride. It follows the lives of 5 different people as they navigate this new world and the dating scene. It is electrifying, intense. It's full of cliffhangers that make you want to keep reading until the final shocking conclusion. So it's perfect for those people in your life who like to pick up little clues along the way, try and guess the ending. But I guarantee you, there are plenty of twists and turns in this book to keep even the seasoned thriller reader guessing. And to stay very on brand to my presentation today, this book is also made into a Netflix series that people are going absolutely wild over, and I loved it myself. So if you know someone who wants to read the book and then watch the show, I highly recommend John Mars. Okay, thank you so much. That is it for me. I just wanted to thank you all for taking time out of your day to join us and hear all of our book recommendations to treat your family and friends this holiday season. But don't forget to treat yourself too. It's been a long year for all of us. You deserve to take a moment for you, curl up, and read a good book. Okay, I'm going to pass you back over to Randy for some closing remarks. Cheers.
Thanks, Anna. You really took the words out of my mouth because I was thinking, as much as we're trying to help you find the holiday, make your holiday shopping a lot easier, we're hoping that you found a book or two that you will love today for yourself. So Erin and Valerie are going to send out the shopping guide one sheet that features all the books that we covered today. And really all that's left to do is to choose a grand prize winner. As I said, someone's going to win all 10 books that our staff recommended today. I've enlisted Erin and Valerie to help with the random draw. So I'll turn it over to them.
Thank you, Randy, so much for everything. So we have chosen a winner at random. We put all the attendees in one of those mixer-upser things. So I'm going to share my screen now with the announcement of the 2. So we have 2 winners. We have one that won the 10 books from Harlequin Trade Publishing, and that's B. And then Adele was the winner of the yearly subscription to the Girly Book Club. So thank you everybody for joining us and hearing all these great recommendations, and of course to our wonderful authors for taking the time to join us tonight. We really, really appreciate it. And of course, to all the ladies who joined on this Wednesday evening. It's great to see everybody, and we hope you all have a really wonderful holiday.
Happy reading, everybody. Thanks,
everyone. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Sarah and Alka.
Thank you.